Today, we will be reading Reddit stories whilst going for a walk. Hello guys and girls, welcome back to the channel. And I thought today, why not head outside, go for a nice walk and read some Reddit stories. I know it's slightly different, but I hope you enjoy it, so please sit back, relax, and let's get into these stories. I found out my best friend was the reason my engagement ended. I thought my best friend would be standing next to me at my wedding, not the reason it never happened. When my boyfriend proposed to me, I was over the moon. We had been together for 3 years and he was everything I prayed for. My best friend Mia had been there ever since high school, cheering me through every single heartbreak. She cried tears of joy when I told her about the proposal, or at least I thought they were tears of joy. A few months before the wedding, my boyfriend started acting distant. He'd cancel dates, avoid talking about wedding plans, and always looked guilty. I thought maybe he was stressed or scared, or maybe it was just normal pre-wedding jitters. Then one night, I got a random message on Instagram. It said, "You should ask your fiancé about the girl he drops off every Friday night." I didn't want to believe it, but something in me, maybe fear, maybe intuition, needed to know. So I followed him. My hands were shaking as I watched his car pull up to an apartment complex. A few minutes later, Mia walked out. She hugged him and kissed him. My entire world cracked open. I didn't confront them right away. I went home, printed the photo I took and placed it in an envelope under his pillow. When he came over that night, his face went pale. He didn't deny it. He said it just happened and that they were connected. Mia texted me later, saying she didn't mean to hurt me, that she fell in love too. I blocked them both and I cancelled the wedding. This was a year ago now. I'm healing now. Therapy, journaling, slowly rebuilding my trust in myself. But sometimes when I pass by a bridal shop, I still feel that sting. Wow, that's really sad for her. As if it was her best friend all along that was that was having the affair. Maybe that's why they had the tears, I guess. Tears of sadness as opposed to joy. All those years of trust for not only the boyfriend but the best friend. And it was all a lie, really. It's nice to hear that she's healing now, because ending relationships, especially like this, that is just so heartbreaking, and all your trust and all your barriers would fall down, and it'd be really hard to find someone to love in the same way once again, especially going through this. And her barriers will always be up from now on whenever she wants to find a new relationship. So at least she's healing now and she's going to therapy and journaling, and it'll really set her on the right path. Let's move on to our next story. It's about someone who's now homeless. I'm homeless and no one knows. I've been homeless for about 13 months now. I've slept in the park, in a library, on the train, and sometimes on people's couches. I survive off minimal government assistance and here and there odd jobs. No one realises I'm homeless until I actually spell it out for them. When I meet people and I feel like they're trustworthy, I let them know. It's usually a mutually beneficial relationship. I'm a talkative person with lots in my past, and people help me out with favours and gifts. But it gets annoying. I can't hold down a full-time job. Everything I need to survive, I'm lugging in a 40-pound backpack. Keeping neat and clean looking means that I rely on opening hours of public facilities, such as libraries, park bathrooms, to wipe myself and clean myself. And I charge my phone and battery bank at these libraries as well. Well, those are the same hours that a regular job would normally be, so I can't do both. I may have a shot at a change. A guy I know works in a small 24/7 supermarket and might be able to get me an overnight shift working there. It's minimum wage, but I can invert my schedule, sleep, clean, change during the day at the library and work at night. It would actually be very advantageous in my situation. And that's the end of his story. I really hope that he did manage to get a job working overnight, because that would suit him and it would be good for him to earn a regular income instead of relying solely on government assistance or other people. But it does seem that he has got things figured out. I mean, he must know the library opening times and the shop opening times off by heart. And I do feel, it does make me feel very lucky that I'm in a position where I have a nice house, I have family, and I have friends that are looking out for me. It sounds like this person isn't getting too disheartened though, and they're looking for positives. He seems fairly happy, and in his replies and to comments, he seems like he knows what he's doing and he's ready to move on with his life, but he's happy to be alive and he's happy to be doing these things, so fair play to this guy. Before we get into the next story, it would really make me monumentally happy if you hit the like and subscribe button and comment down below if you're enjoying the video. And let's get into our next story. My skirt ripped on the subway and a car of strangers became a seam team. It was an evening rush. I stood up to give up my seat for an old person, and the back of my pencil skirt snagged on a bolt. Pop! Cold air on my thigh, my heart was pounding, and I froze. A woman in scrubs pressed a sweatshirt into my hands. Another pulled safety pins from her tote. A man held his suit jacket as a shield. Someone angled a phone so I could see. In what felt like under a minute, we managed to pin and seam my skirt. I let out a sigh of relief and a quick laugh as I moved through the cart. At the next stop, I got off the subway and I waved back to everyone as if they were my teammates. I walked back to my house with my skirt pinned and my chest felt much lighter. People can be so good. That's a really nice story. It's so nice how everyone came together just to help this person out in a time of need. I know I know if that happened in London, there'd two things would happen. One, someone would either get their phone out and start recording, or two, everyone would look away and no one would help at all. People in London, especially when it's busy, never help out. So it's really nice to hear a story where people of the public are working together, almost like uniting. It's almost like a film, like a small cutscene from a film, this story. Because I just could never imagine that happening in London, which is kind of sad. Let's get into our next story. I caught my girlfriend on a date with another guy. This happened a few months ago, but it's still kind of stuck in my head. I have read a few stories on Reddit, just never thought that this would happen to me. So I, myself, 28, male, was dating this girl for almost 2 years. We had our ups and downs, like every couple, but I honestly thought things were fine. We were talking about moving in together, planning trips, all that serious stuff. Then out of nowhere, she started acting distant. Fewer texts, short replies, random excuses not to meet. I kept asking if everything was okay, and she just said that she was busy or tired. I believed her. Or at least I wanted to believe her. One Friday night, she told me she was going out with her college friends for dinner. I said cool and stayed home. But something just didn't feel right. She didn't sound excited the way she usually did when she was going out with her friends. Anyway, I decided to go out myself to grab a coffee and clear my head. There's this new rooftop cafe in town, and I figured why not check it out. I walked up the stairs, looked around the table, and then I froze. Right there, sitting at the corner table by the railing, was my girlfriend, holding hands with some random guy I have never seen before. They weren't just friends, you could tell. The way she was laughing, the way he touched her, and how she leaned into him. It wasn't innocent. I just stood there for a few seconds. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I didn't go up to her. I didn't shout. I didn't because I didn't want to make a scene. I just pulled on the hood of my jacket, took my coffee, turned around and walked out. On the way home I didn't cry. I didn't even feel angry. It was like my brain just shut off. When I got home, I opened my phone, scrolled through our old messages and started deleting everything. Photos, chats, call logs, all gone. Then I blocked her on everything. Instagram, WhatsApp. I even removed her number from all my streaming services. No explanation, no goodbye text, just silence. The next morning she texted me from another number. Hey, why did you block me? What's wrong? I didn't reply. A few hours later she sent another message saying, why are you acting so weird? I didn't do anything. She tried to call a few times that week. Then it eventually stopped. I never unblocked her. Never spoke to her again. And you know what? That silence was my closure. I didn't need to yell or demand answers. I saw everything I needed to. I knew that silence would hurt her more than anything I could say. Because she'd realised she wasn't worth even a confrontation. It's been months now. I've been hitting the gym, focusing on work, hanging out with people who actually give a damn about me. Some nights I still think about that moment, walking up the stairs, seeing her laugh like I never existed. But then I remember how peaceful my life has been since I removed her from it. Wow, that's a pretty deep story. And he probably felt so anxious when he walked up those stairs and saw his girlfriend with someone else. I wouldn't even know what to feel in that situation. I think he probably did the right thing by just leaving there and then and not causing a massive scene. I know some people may see this as a missed opportunity to make a scene, but I think he probably did the right thing, just going home. I mean, breakups are so hard, and I surely he needed to say something, but I guess by blocking her and everything, she probably realised that she'd been caught out somehow, some way. So at least he got his closure in the end, and it serves her right, really. if she's going to act like that and basically, well, she just cheated essentially. She did cheat. She was going out on dates with other people. So I guess she has no legs to stand on, and he did what he felt was right at the time. So well done to him, and I wish all the best for him. Let's get into our next story now. My mum sold my inheritance to my stepbrother and said I should be grateful. I never thought my own mum would betray me over money, but here we are. My dad passed away when I was 17. Before he died, he made it very clear that his house, the one he built from scratch, would be mine someday. He told me, "This is your security. No matter what happens, you'll always have a home." When he passed, my mum remarried within 2 years. Her new husband, Mark, had a son my age, Ryan. I tried to be polite, but we were never close. He was the kind of guy who always bragged about everything, his car, his dad's business, even his perfect life. Fast forward to the last year. I'm now 25. I came home to visit and noticed something felt off. My old bedroom was empty. The walls were repainted, and when I asked my mum about it, she casually said, "Oh, Ryan's moving in. We decided to sell the house to him. It'll stay in the family." I froze. Sell? My dad's house, the one he promised me. She told me it was only fair since Ryan was more responsible and he could afford to take care of it. When I reminded her it was in my dad's will, she said it wasn't legally binding since it wasn't notarized, just a written note that my dad left. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. I tried to reason with her. I even begged, but she said, "You should be grateful, at least it's going to someone who loves this family." I left that night, with nothing but my backpack and tears in my eyes. Months later, I found out that Ryan sold the house for double what he paid for it. My mum called me saying she missed me. I didn't answer, because sometimes love doesn't excuse a betrayal. I feel really sorry for this person. That must have been a real shock and a twist to hear that the house was going to be sold to his stepbrother Ryan. And ultimately, Ryan just sold the house for double what he paid for it anyway, so he was just profiteering of it. Now, surely if you're the mum, you'd want your son, and it was the dad's last wish for him to receive the house, so it doesn't make any sense for the mum to suddenly want to sell the house to Ryan, unless she just wanted to make a quick bit of money herself. But even still, it sounds like she's missed out massively, because if he's managed to spin the house and sell it on for double what he paid for it in a few months, then she clearly missed out on a trick there as well. So I don't really know what she's playing at, and it makes me feel really sorry for this person. Let's move on to our next story. I picked a stupid fight over a spoon, and now we both can't stop laughing. Husband and I happily married for about 8 years. We get along really well. We've had our ups and downs and worked through issues like most couples. So, while it's not unusual for us to bicker, we have had very serious fights in the past that's made us reconsider our marriage. He brought home an owner surrender dog recently, on top of the 4 dogs we already have. I was supportive because he couldn't let this dog get put down, which was the owner's only options due to financial constraints. My husband felt a connection with this dog, and he couldn't just let it get put down. He's a vet after all. So, we have been caring for this critically ill Great Dane after doing the surgeries ourselves. My husband wanted to feed some honey to this poor dog to help with the blood sugar and its appetite. He scooped out the honey in a long teaspoon and stuck it in the dog's mouth. I impulsively picked a fight over that. We have a whole box of disposable spoons, but he chose a long silver teaspoon. When I tell you I lost it, I'm not kidding. He was snarky too and said, "I bring home a dog and dump this on you too, but this is what you get mad about?" But those were the long teaspoons I always use every day, and I was horrified by what I witnessed. All the logic and reason escaped my brain. I know I can sterilize it. I know it can be used again. But in that moment, I just couldn't stomach this. This incident that is completely meaningless. I pouted and went to bed. He bought us long new teaspoons off Amazon, and I just started laughing. I said, "Dude, I know I'm being unreasonable, and I know this is stupid, and it's a meaningless fight, but I'm just really upset about that damn spoon. I don't even understand why." He started giggling and called me crazy, and said that he loves me. I started laughing more at my irrationality whilst acknowledging I was being unreasonable. But man, I really wanted to fight this guy over a damn spoon. Why couldn't he just use a disposable one? Wow. That sounds like they are a happily married couple. It's funny how people pick fights over certain things and not with others. Like, why did she feel the need to... Why was it the spoon that triggered her, but not the act of bringing a dog home? I remember when I was living at home, I couldn't imagine if my dad just brought a dog home without telling my mum. She would have gone mental at that. But yeah, people always have funny arguments over different things. And it's always nice to hear that at the end of this story, they were happy again, and she realised that she was being unreasonable. So it was nice to hear that they got on at the end, and they both found the story funny. Let's get into our next one. My roommate keeps bringing people over, and I don't know how to handle it. I'm 24, and I just moved out my parents' place for the first time. I live with one roommate who's a friend I met in college. Apparently, her previous roommate left suddenly, if that matters at all. The apartment is fairly small, just enough space to accommodate both of us without stepping on each other's toes. With that being said, I thought we were on the same page about keeping things chill and respecting each other's space. And at first, we were, but now things are a bit different. After a month of living in the new apartment, my roommate keeps bringing people over. It started with just her boyfriend, which I didn't mind at first, because he really wasn't here that often and seemed polite enough. Soon, him being over a couple of hours a week turned into him being there almost every day, with him spending nights here constantly. Honestly, if that's where it ended, I might be able to handle it. However, it's gotten much worse. Now, not only is her boyfriend over, it's his friends as well. And they stay for hours, even if I'm not there. I never know when someone's going to be in my living room, in the kitchen, or even in the only bathroom. The worst part is, they don't respect my space. I've come home from work and found someone sitting in the couch, or going through my food in my fridge, or just hanging out there like they live there too. I've tried dropping hints and being polite, like, hey, can you let me know when someone's coming over? But it's like it doesn't sink in with them. My roommate laughs it off every time and says I'm overreacting. I constantly feel on edge. I can't relax in my own apartment, and I never know when I'll have company I didn't agree to. I thought moving out would give me freedom and independence, but instead I feel like I'm living in someone else's space. And I don't know how to draw boundaries without causing a huge fight. I feel guilty for feeling upset. It's my first time living alone, and I'm trying to figure out how to handle these situations. But I also don't think it's unreasonable to want my home to feel like my home. I just don't know if I should confront my roommate more seriously, or set some hard rules, or start looking for a new place before I completely lose my sanity. I don't think this person's unreasonable in the slightest. That must be really frustrating to come back to your own house after a long day of work and there's just loads of people hanging out in your space when all you want to do is chill out. I'm guessing that's why the other person moved out this apartment. They probably couldn't tolerate it anymore, and they just didn't want to be there, which is perfectly fair enough. It's perfectly reasonable to not want people going through your stuff in your fridge or just always being on your sofa. So I think this person, as sad as it is, they probably have to move out, because it sounds like this person will continue to do this, and they're not going to change. And that's probably why the other person moved out in the first place to begin with. Let's get into our last story. I found out my dad had a secret family after he died. I always thought my dad was the most loyal man I knew. Turns out I didn't even know half his life. He passed away suddenly last year after a heart attack. I was so devastated. He was my biggest hero, supporter, and the one who taught me how to ride my bike and never give up on anything. My mum was so heartbroken, of course, but she handled all the paperwork and the funeral stuff, whilst I just tried to hold everything together. A few weeks later, I got a call from a lawyer asking me to come in for a reading of the will. I thought it was weird since my mum was already handling everything, but when I got there, I saw another woman sitting in the office with 2 kids around my age. I remember the lawyer saying, "It seems we need to divide the assets among all 3 children." I froze. "What do you mean 3? The woman, quite nervous, looked at me and whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't know he told you nothing." Turns out my dad had another family, a woman he'd been seeing for nearly 20 years. The kids, my half-siblings, had known about me their entire lives. They even had pictures of me on their walls because he told them I was their other sister, but he never told me anything. I went home that night and just sat in my car for hours crying. I felt like my whole childhood had been a lie. How could someone so loving, so present, also be living a double life? My mum admitted she'd always suspected something, but didn't want to destroy the family. I didn't talk to either side for months, but eventually I met my half-siblings for coffee. They were kind, they looked so much like him. It hurt, but we talked for hours, and maybe, in some strange way, I realised he was deeply flawed, but we were all just pieces of him trying to make sense of the wreckage he left behind. That's a nice ending to the story. At least she reconnected with her, well, I guess it's just connecting. She connected with her half-siblings. But it's a nice end to the story if it is real. It kind of seems like that one's a bit of an AI job. I couldn't imagine that. I'd like to think I'd notice if my dad was disappearing off and having a second family. I think it would be quite obvious. I think it's a bit strange that the half-siblings never thought to reach out. I mean, I'm pretty sure if that was me, even if you were told not to, you'd be a bit rebellious growing up, especially in your teens, and maybe message them on Instagram or try and reach out if that's your other sister that you're aware of, and I'm sure they would want to meet. But at least in the end, the families came together and they were happy. So that's a nice end to the story. And I'd like to thank you all if you're still with me now. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed my walk as well. It's been a nice little potter around and slightly different, so I hope you enjoyed this style of video. Please hit the like button, press subscribe, and comment down below if you enjoy this content, because I've quite enjoyed producing this type of video. I think it's been quite nice to get out and walk. So I hope to catch you on the next one. See you later.